The iPhone SE was abruptly released in early 2016 and brought the iPhone 6s's internals in the smaller body of the iPhone 5S. Hey, how's it going? I'm Josh from 91 Tech, and today we're taking a look at the iPhone SE. How does it hold up in 2019, and is it still worth buying? The iPhone SE is really something special, and is surprisingly viable in 2019. The first thing that stands out to anybody when they pick it up for the first time is definitely the size. It's small, at least relative to most phones nowadays, and this can be both a good and bad thing. Some people will really like it and even buy it just for that feature, while others would rather avoid it. Right off the bat, there is two reasons you should get the iPhone SE, if you prefer the small size, or if you're on a small budget. Both are valid reasons to get this device in 2019, and while I would say it might be more worth it to get the iPhone 8 if you're wanting a larger screen, the iPhone SE is a really great phone and one that'll last you without issue in the next few years to come. So short answer, the iPhone SE is still a great phone in 2019, and while it might not be the most flashy device, it is one that is extremely cost efficient and more than decent. If you have one right now, then I would probably say you don't have to upgrade yet unless you really want to. And if you do want to upgrade from the SE, then the iPhone 8 or 10R are probably your best bets. I'll have a link in the description to my buying guide for all iPhones right now, so make sure you go check that out if you're on the market for a new iPhone. But for now, let's focus on the iPhone SE and take this a bit slower, starting with the design. The iPhone SE looks identical to the 5S with the same 4-inch display and aluminum body. It looks great and feels great in the hand too, as it is very comfortable to use thanks to that smaller size. The phone is also fairly durable given that it is aluminum, which means you probably won't be too poorly off if you don't use a case, although it still would be a good idea to have a case. I mean, don't want to break that screen, right? Below the display we have first generation Touch ID on the home button. It works well, and while it's not as fast as the iPhone 6s and newer, it is more than good enough. On the bottom of the phone we have the lightning port and headphone jack. Interestingly, this was the last iPhone to actually have a headphone jack. Technically the 6s Plus is the best iPhone with a headphone jack, but the SE is the newest. The battery isn't huge in the iPhone SE at 1624 mAh, but it should be enough to get a day of moderate use out of it, assuming the phone hasn't been heavily used over the years, resulting in a degraded battery. The camera here is actually one of the SE's best features, with the rear sensor having a full 12 megapixels and the ability to shoot 4K video. It can produce some really nice shots, which I'll show in a moment here, and it's absolutely viable as a camera in 2019. At least the rear camera is. The front-facing camera is absolutely awful, with only 1.2 megapixels, and any selfies you take are gonna look like hot garbage, as you can unfortunately see on the screen here. Selfie cameras hate me anyways, but the SE certainly isn't doing me any favors. Anyways, if selfies are important to you, then you're going to want the iPhone 7 or newer, as they can produce much better photos. The 6s is also quite a bit better, but isn't great. However, if the front-facing camera isn't too essential for you, then the SE is going to be more than sufficient, and I wouldn't worry about it. And now I'll put up a few photo examples for you to see for yourself. This is being filmed on the iPhone SE in 4K at 30 frames per second. It looks really good. The technical specs of the SE hold up surprisingly well with Apple's A9 chipset and 2GB of RAM, the same as what's in the iPhone 6s. The SE actually feels pretty speedy on iOS 12, and you should be able to do practically anything without any issue. From social media to gaming, the SE feels smooth and fluid, which is what you want from any phone. Streaming media isn't necessarily the best, but that's mostly due to the lackluster speaker and small display, something that you're probably not going to be too worried about if you're getting the SE. Plus, we have the headphone jack, so I think that makes up for the crappy speaker. The iPhone SE should be supported by Apple until at least 2021 or 2022, which means you'll be able to get another 2 to 3 more years of updates out of the SE. This is a great phone, and one I really wish Apple would bring back. It was recently discontinued on their website, which sucks, because I truly think this thing would have done extremely well if it was given a small upgrade with a faster processor and better camera. It could still happen, by the way. The SE2 has again gotten rumors lately. That seems to happen all the time, but I will say we expected it last March and it didn't come last March, so I wouldn't get my hopes up. Regardless, you can still find the SE from most carriers right now, and that probably won't change anytime soon. The SE will go for dirt cheap on contract, and while locking yourself to 2 years isn't always a great idea when it comes to smartphones, if you're low on funds, the SE is one of the best value phones you can get in 2019, if not the best, period. However, in my opinion, the best way to pick up an SE is used or refurbished on a website like eBay, as you can save a lot of money. The SE usually goes for well under $150 US, often as low as $100, which is an insanely good deal, and you just can't complain about the phone if you're getting it for that little. If you need a bridge phone right now because yours broke, or if you need a solid device that'll last you the next couple years without doing anything too crazy, the iPhone SE is honestly a great choice, and I would fully recommend buying it. At the end of the day, whether or not you buy the iPhone SE depends on whether or not you like the size, or at least can deal with it for the price. If you want something slightly bigger, the 6S is still a pretty good option for not much more money, and I'll have a link to the comparison between the two phones in the description below. And with that, I think I'm pretty much done here. The iPhone SE is a great phone, and has been my go-to recommendation for people looking to buy iPhones since it was released in 2016, and it'll probably remain that way for most of 2019. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, maybe hit that like button, and consider subscribing for more content just like this. You can follow me over on Twitter and Instagram if you want some more tech in your life at 91_tech. And with that all being said, I'm Josh from 91tech, and I will see you all next time.